The Justin Robert Young program brought to you as always by everybody who supports us at PayJuryDaily.com. Again, that is PayJuryDaily.com. Come on over. Just $5 a month. That's all we ask. If you like the show, it's pennies. Probably more than pennies. Maybe a quarter. I don't know what it is per episode each month, but I do know that you get a lot for your money. If you want to support the fact that I'm doing this for you, well, then you should head on over. Come on, PayJuryDaily.com. Enough of talking about how we support the show, though. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Oh, what's going on, fam? It's your old pal, Justin Robert Young. We are back here with another episode, and we're bringing to a close my radical, bold, exciting, foolproof, well, thought it was foolproof, thought it was universally accepted, thought it was something that everybody could agree upon, that yes, finally, the savior of all public education, one Justin Robert Gerbils, I'd totally cracked the code. I'd figured out a way to make America's public educated youth something that we could be proud of again. But no, the naysayers came out. No, I have questions. I don't think it'll work. Ninja Steve. Oh, my God, Ninja Steve. Ninja Steve goes and emails in after I'm basking in all the praise for my brilliant plan. If you're unfamiliar, this is the first episode you've listened to today. My brilliant plan is I want there to be no junior year of high school. No junior year. Instead, through sophomore year, you work up to building a business plan, and then you execute that business plan in your junior year. You don't have to come to school. Now, here's the key. You can do with your time what you want. However, if you run out of money in a school-monitored bank account, then you have to either return to school and learn, I don't know, something. You'll just like climb the rope in gym every day. Or you have the opportunity to work with the businesses of students that are succeeding. So that way the students can scale up their business, theoretically. Now, this was something that was, this is effectively, if I were to sum up how everybody reacted to this plan up until Ninja Steve, this would be how I would phrase it. That's what I was hearing in my head, at least, as I was reading these emails. But then, Ninja Steve has to roll in, and he wrote a big, long thing that you can listen to in yesterday's episode. But I'm going to sum up. I told everybody that I am going to own Ninja Steve with facts and logic. And God damn it, I'm gonna. But first, let's go ahead and do the news. This is a story that just keeps on going, friends. This is this college admissions thing. So Lori Loughlin, Aunt Becky from Full House, her daughter was one of the ones that was purchased into USC. And so you might wonder how this is affecting the family. Lori Loughlin has passed or gotten out on bail for the crime of bribing her way into bribing her child's way into USC. However, there's been a bit of a cultural fascination with the daughter. The daughter is apparently an Instagram and YouTube influencer by the name of Olivia Jade. And you might wonder, I mean, this has got to be a trying time. You know, her mom's in jail. Everybody's making fun of her. This has got to be a dark time in this young girl's life. So let's, thankfully, TMZ has figured out exactly how she heard this awful news. And here's how it went down. She was on a yacht. Seems on brand. Seems like something that, happens. But even more so, the yacht was owned by a USC Board of Trustees member. This is the TMZ story. As Lori Loughlin traveled from Vancouver to Los Angeles Tuesday night to surrender to federal authorities on college bribery scandal, which got her daughter Olivia Jade into USC, Olivia spent the night on the yacht of the chairman of the USC's Board of Trustees, but she is now off the boat. We've learned that 19-year-old Olivia was on Rick Caruso's yacht in the Bahamas. Caruso's daughter, Gianna, Olivia, and several friends were spending spring break in the Bahamas. Gianna and Olivia have been friends for quite some time, occasionally posting photos of each other on social media. Caruso, a billionaire who has a major real estate holding, including the Grove in L.A., told TMZ, "My daughter and a group of students left for spring break prior to the government's announcement yesterday. Once we became aware of the investigation, the young women decided it would be in their best interests to return home." Caruso was elected chairman of USC's Board of Trustees last year. We're told the board will not decide the fate of Olivia and other students involved in the case. That decision is left squarely in the hands of the university's president. By the way, Caruso came out strong Tuesday in the wake of the indictment, saying, quote, "The charges filed today against employees of USC are disturbing, and the alleged activity is absolutely wrong. I am saddened that these people would abuse their positions of trust and, as the government has alleged, victimized USC in the process. There's no option other than zero tolerance for these types of behaviors. As a result, USC has fired the alleged wrongdoers." If you're unfamiliar with this story, well, number one, read up. It's actually great. Apparently, there was a guy who was taking money from rich people and famous people to get their kids that might otherwise not qualify for the schools they wanted to attend to get into the schools that they wanted to attend. Very often this happened by consorting with coaches on various teams that had scholarships. Teams like pole vaulting and crew. So, for example, you would say, oh, well, my daughter's a tremendous coxswain. She should be able to get in. Of course, she has never coxswained a day in her life. And yet, with the magic of Photoshop, anything is possible. Next thing you know, she's technically on the crew team. The academic bar is lower for that. Or you could always just fake the ACTs, as they did for some of these kids. It's a remarkable story. But really the fascination here is all about eat the rich, right? Everybody wants to see the rich eat a pile of poop. You know, they eat so well otherwise, nothing but filet mignon and Dom Perignon, that every once in a while, we, the poors, like to hand them a big old pile of poop. Hey, I have a hard time making rent. You don't. Would you like to eat this pile of poop? Because it would make me feel a lot better. And so this is Lori Loughlin, and this is Felicity Huffman. Well, I mean, you could say that there's one place that they would go. You could definitely say that after all this time, they could certainly end up the poop buffet. Who's first in line today for the poop buffet? All right, now I'm gonna fucking rip Ninja Steve. Enough, Mr. Nice Guy. I'm done being Mr. Nice Guy. Here's the deal. Ninja Steve wrote this really mean email, being very mean, being unfair about my brilliant plan. In it, he asked a few very pedantic, stupid questions that I thought would have been very easily understood if people would just open up their ears, clear out the corn cobs and the cobwebs in your ears and maybe listen. Ninja Steve asked, all right, if you're asking all these kids to go out and the reward is you don't have to go to school, why don't they just drop out and get a GED? You can drop out and get a GED when you're a junior in high school, usually. So why not just do that? Well, I would say to you, Ninja Steve, the point of this entire exercise is not to necessarily say that school is terrible, but it is, and I do think that this is something that is important. It is important to understand that not all education is learned through the same static classroom system. The more that people can learn in different ways, it is my opinion that the more they will retain. The more exciting the lesson, the more impactful the knowledge. And so if we can take something that is rote and turn it on its head, then not only when they return to the classroom do I believe that they will be more receptive to the message, but also it becomes exciting. It becomes different. We are all, at the end of the day, pattern recognizing creatures, and high school students are no different. So if we just have ... then having ... dash would make, followed by more dots, would make everything a richer, better experience. Booyah! Yeah, eat that, Ninja Steve. Oh, you want to know? I'm feeling so good about this. I'll go ahead and take this question here from the chat. Why not just get them internships? Why do they need to create startups? For this reason. The whole point of this is to understand, A, how much things cost, real world math, budgeting, things that we don't necessarily teach kids. Now, a lot of these things used to be in stuff like home economics, and I can understand that a lot of those lessons might be a little passé or gendered or not considered essential. But I do believe that personal financial responsibility, as well as imbuing a little bit of risk-taking, managed, researched risk-taking, is something that is lacking in students. An internship does not give you that. An internship teaches you how to be an employee. I would like to teach high school students how to be a boss, and at the very least, just so they can understand the structures of the companies that they're going to wind up working on. Now let's go back to Ninja Steve. He made the point that I have no idea how to pay for this. And I would agree with him. I do not know the economics of a school budget. I have no idea exactly how much this would cost. This is the kind of idea that you should come to expect from a person who skipped all of his math classes and literally stopped taking math as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and take the L on that one. I doff my cap to you, Ninja Steve. And now his final question. His final question. Although, you want to know what? I'll just keep taking stuff right here in the chat. Just Another Pilot says, wouldn't you want students to get some semblance of an MBA before you toss them $5K? Absolutely not. The point of this program is to show that you don't always have to over-prepare. Life is not about being prepared for everything. Life is about figuring out the situation that you are in and then moving forward. This should not, this is a system in which we are assuming that the majority of people will fail. We don't want to make sure everybody's afloat, because the lesson of failure, the lesson of what happens when you burn through $5,000 in a week and how much you miss out because other people are able to do other things and they're able to be exciting and now you're working for them. I think this is a good lesson. This is an important lesson. I would rather kids learn it in a safe space as opposed to what happens when we get out into the real world. Furthermore, Oh Yeah says, personal finance does not equal professional skills. Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree. That they don't equal personal skills, but I think that they are important skills. I very much agree with you. All right. So how do we prevent fraud and abuse is the final big question. And to that I say, checkmate, my friend. Because if we are worried about fraud and abuse, and by the way, I wish we were worried about fraud and abuse in our schools more than we are right now. But that's another topic for another day. But if we're worried about fraud and abuse, then that means fundamentally there's something that is worth working on. So yes, I do not know, nor do I have the custom software that all the kids would have to use. I couldn't find an actual proposal. This is a half-baked, back of a napkin, a nonsense proposal that I've decided to stretch out into 4 full days of content. However, I do think that if we're worried about making sure it works for everybody, then that means that inherently we have to understand that it would work for somebody. And there is where I take my final bow. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this and a few other things in our emails. You can always give us an email, jurydaily@gmail.com, jurydaily@gmail.com. The praise continues to pour in for my brilliant idea. I love this idea, writes Chris. I'm a self-taught auto mechanic, motorcycle mechanic, race car engine designer, and now I'm the CIO of a damn good programmer for a small software startup. I've got kids who went and are going to college, and my 28-year-old son is going back to school now that he knows what he wants to do, for real. The college system we currently have is just a self-feeding money machine that churns out mediocrity like a McDonald's fry cook having a bad day. The debt is unmanageable, and I dare you to show any measurable percentage of folks who are living the career based on what they took in school after surviving an early midlife crisis. College is a sham. Tradesmen are looked down upon. Self-taught guys like me are seen as the luckiest white priv losers of all, and it's bullshit. I grew up poorer than most and had to work my ass off for every little win and the hundreds and hundreds of losses. College was never a thing for me financially, and I wouldn't have a tenth of the life skills if I'd gone. A reminder that College is a Sham Week begins next week. Cynical Brit writes, kids from richer families. Oh, this is his criticism of why my brilliant plan would fail. Kids from richer families with more connections are going to be more likely to succeed in it. They will be in communities with more free liquidity. They'll be able to have their parents help them and meet people and get things off the ground. They are more likely to have a stay-at-home parent to help them run it, and there's no way these parents aren't going to help. Maybe even go so far as to bribe people and put their own money in their own to keep their kid afloat. Cough, Lori Loughlin, cough. The communities they are in will not only have more money to put in, but the things that they'll put in their money are likely to look good to employers on college admissions. In a less privileged community, it's less likely that the free liquidity is being pumped into stuff society views as vices, drugs, alcohol, and the like. Even outside of those things that are somewhat universally accepted are not so great, people will probably look more favorably on the kid who made money producing country music than the kid who made the same or more money producing mumble rap. So unlike school, where succeeding is succeeding in baby's first business, even your success can be used against you. Cynical Brit, I offer to you, no. I find this argument wholly unconvincing for this reason. My point here is not to stop rich kids from having opportunities. There's nothing that we can be doing about those. Like, literally, they're going to have a leg up on stuff no matter what. So, all I can do is try to give an opportunity for poor and middle-class kids to have a little bit of money in their pocket to do something interesting. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Nor do I think that rich kids being rich kids is going to take away from a lesson that a poor or middle-class kid can learn. IMO. Middle-aged Mike wrote, I listened to your plan and I'm on board. I like the fact that failed students have the option to become employees at the successful students' businesses. There seems to be a lot of minutiae to work out, but I now understand what you're trying to achieve. I'll stand by my lack of vocational training stance in today's educational system that should be addressed too. But your bottom line lesson that kids need to fail and learn earlier about real life is solid. Our societal construct of current young adults is crumbling 100+ years from its adoption. Change/reform is needed. Anonymous writes, I'm on board with the value of a practical vocational skill, but your version would never work, if only because of the money. Your theory is that $5,000 for each kid is going to come from the money that would have been spent teaching them. And it is at odds with the other insistence that 99% of the students will immediately fail, left to their own devices. I'm positive that 99% of the people will fuck their businesses up because that's not a lot of money to run a business and shit is hard. So they'll be forced to return to school, and the school will be forced to use resources on them anyway. Because if almost everyone fails, then there's almost no chance of finding employment under a succeeding business for long. Also, my high school couldn't even get the budget to run a programming class for more than a year. Like, not even counting the human resources needed to pull this together, this would only work at a really nice private school. Forgetting the money for a second, I think the whole running a business thing would be better as a cumulative project in a business skills class that is maybe one half of your school day for a semester. Selection for a class would be based on the submission of a viable business plan. If selected for the class, you would spend one half the day working on your business, and you could leave campus if you needed, but you would also have a class meeting to help collaborate and troubleshoot without much babysitting. Also, students just can't walk in on the curriculum midway through the year. My parents are teachers, and it's a lot more complicated than that. The other thing is that the people who need to learn how to take risks and tackle real-world challenges are the people like me that would have never done this program because it would have thrown off their college plan and their garden path to traditional success. I agree with you that I wish I had more financial risk-taking skills and practical savvy adjacencies. But if you had told me as a high school junior that I had this option, I would have never taken it. I actually agree with you, Anonymous, and I probably wouldn't have taken it either, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be forcing kids to. Windwalker wrote, I've listened to your idea and I'm not sure that it would work in the United Kingdom. It's a fine idea, but we have a problem with a percentage of the population when they leave school going on to benefits and staying on them. It is nicknamed benefits culture and causes a lot of strain. Please don't get me wrong. Some people do not want to be on benefits, but all systems are open to abuse. My thoughts on this have always been about national service should be introduced to all 16-year-olds in the UK. This would instill work ethic in the young people and give them the start of a skill set so they can get to work easier. There are countries around the world that have very successful programs of this nature. Well, that's one way to do it. And certainly there are plenty of places that force 16-year-olds into military service, or at least some kind of national service. I don't know. I feel like we've gotten a little serious on this show. We've been talking about all sorts of serious stuff. I don't know if that's great for the brand. because we're definitely going to have a lot of conversations about, like, you know, college being a sham. This is always something that gets people real hot and bothered and everything. So before we do that next week, send in your college is a sham emails. Before we do that, I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit and let everybody know that this is a little segment we like to call on the program High Thoughts. Elon Musk has said he wants to put compressed air thrusters into his cars. Is that motherfucker testing ideas on how to make a Tesla space car in the future? Dr. Seuss books without the pictures are just the inane ramblings of a madman. Why does hand sanitizer have an expiration date? Shoes are just comfortable floors on the go. Why does everyone make the same face when they run in the rain? They don't make that face in the shower. Jussie Smollett got arrested for literally being a bad actor. And finally, do you think Ryan Gosling will ever grow up to be Ryan Goose? These are high thoughts. Thank you, everybody. I want to thank all of our producers, The Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific, and Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, Will, James the OG Brito, Will, Matthew B, and Chris, as well as Dusted BioCal, Robert H, Brian C, M, Trey the Melodica Man, Adam, Middle Age Mike, and Dave. Of course, you can always email us, jurydaily@gmail.com. That is JURYDAILY@gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat @JustinRYoung. And, of course, join our Discord. bit.ly/jurydiscord. Until next week, friends, this is your old pal, Justin Robert Young, letting you know to please give a round of applause to Mr. Wacky, but more importantly, please don't
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.